So today's release webinar, where we're going to talk about new features, future features, pro services, where you can find Gatemaster, live with Sandra, questions and answers, and how to connect with us. I'm your host today, Tiffany Blair. So I'll be discussing with you the new features and the things that we have to offer in the future. Here with us today is Ariana and Taj. There are some team members on our part of our group that you guys can reach out to if you have any questions or concerns. So some of our new features we'll be highlighting. This wasn't a very heavy feature release, so we've made some adjustments to the waivers where if you have a season pass holder who's required to sign a waiver, it'll keep the accounts together as one. Before they were creating separate accounts. We've also added some new tokens so that you can add that to your BOCA tickets and ID cards. These tokens are user-defined notes 6 through 10, and they can be printed on the ticket template or the ID card. And if you don't know what the user-defined notes, they are custom fields within the user manager account that are specific to the user and not the entire billing account. Also, there is a new alert that appears in the point of sale. So if a guest does not have a photo in their account, it will prompt before the ID card prints in the POS. So those are our few features. But of course, if you want to see a complete list of features and fixes, please review the forms in the Gatemaster user portal to see that complete list. Some future features coming up. We're going to do some kitchen screen enhancements where we're going to be totaling the orders on the kitchen screen. We're also going to do some enhancements with the access control where you can redeem additional benefits such as a buddy ticket. We're also going to have a ticket scan count, a bulk group update. And when we say bulk group update, it's for group sales where they have, let's say, a school group of 50 people. And rather than print off, let's say 50 tickets, they just do 50 to this node and they're in the park. So those are some of the access control enhancements. We're also still going to have the release of the Apple Passport and the Google Wallet. So that's in the works still. And then our tentative release date, I believe, is going to be around October 15th. But of course, we'll keep you posted with newsletters and those kind of things. If you need some pro services, just reach out to Taj. She's your person. Things that are part of pro services would be seats, additional mobile stores, additional authorized sites. We released our self-service kiosk in May, and one thing that I didn't highlight on there, we do want to enhance that self-service kiosk to also work with food and beverage. Right now, it's just any day type tickets. If you need any type of development services, such as, data entry scripts, those kind of things, custom development, these are part of our pro services that we offer. Oh, and so here's some of the custom development that we can do for you. So, as long as we have a scope, we can really give you a bid and work with you on those new features, adding new seats. Gatemaster, where you can find us. So this year this fall, we're going to be at Knott's Berry Farm in October. That's where Sandra is going to be. She'll be meeting there, and that's on October 15th, and that is with the IAPA meetup group. And then I will be at the World Water Park Trade Show and Convention. It's being held right now between October 8th through the 11th at the Paris Hotel in Las Vegas. Live with Sandra. So if you want to be a guest on Live with Sandra, don't miss out. Ariana, I'm sorry, I didn't know when is her next live? I believe that's next week, correct?
Yes, it is.
On Wednesday?
Let me double check really quick, just to be sure.
So Live with Sandra is where she meets with different special guests. And if you want to be a guest, we would love to have you, of course. So that's what this next slide is about, is being a guest. Just scan this QR code. You know, I believe everybody has a voice, everybody has a vision, and your insights do matter. So scan this QR code, be a guest on her show. We have quite a big lineup actually coming up here with the Live with Sandra, and we do send out newsletters regarding the lineup, as well as I believe there's a webinar that she's going to be hosting here in the next coming weeks. And then is there any questions? Any questions you want to know?
If you have any questions, go ahead and drop them into the chat and I will read them out to Tiffany. And just to confirm, it's not next Wednesday, but the following Wednesday for
Okay.
Sandra's next live. Okay, and I see a few people typing here. Okay, first question. How does Gatemaster's Speed Pass feature integrate with the existing point of sale and access control systems to provide real-time updates on guest queue status and ensure seamless entry management?
So the Speed Pass is a secondary type ticket that is designed to very similar to what Disney does with their pass, where you have it's like a fast pass. So what happens is basically it could be, there's a couple ways we could do it. It could be a second ticket or a second wristband that's scanned at an access control at the actual attraction, or it could be like a stored value. So stored value could be a combined ticket. So you have the gate entry ticket and then you have the speed pass added onto it. And then we just say which one's valid at which node. I do recommend for the speed pass, we have an integration with a company called Alvarado. They have really, really amazing gates. We did demonstrate those gates at Congo River Golf where we were doing our 30th anniversary party. The setup is super easy. I actually believe it's a much quicker scan. And from my understanding with some of our current clients who are using it, one Alvarado gate replaces two handheld devices. So it's a really fast way of doing it. It does check valid or invalid. It has red or green lights. So if an attendant is managing the fast pass lane or the speed pass lane and the general admission lane, the guests can actually scan their wristband on their own. And then because of the lights and also the sounds, it makes a sound that is very loud when it is a bad sound. So then you know for sure 100% if that person's not supposed to be in that line. So it's more of an upsell type ticket, the speed pass, but it can work in a couple different ways. It just depends on how you want to configure it.
Nice. Okay, so second question, can custom fields now be placed on waivers?
Yes, actually, I believe they can. Manny, can you confirm that? I believe that was a feature maybe that I didn't add because that's a new field, correct?
Yeah, I think it was kind of contained in that waiver overhaul
Okay.
you mentioned, but a lot of the waiver workflow was I'll say remastered. So now we can add custom fields to waivers, and they appear when you add new users or when entitlements are being checked out upon that require waivers. So really cool new feature allowing for the collection of extra information.
Thank you, Manny.
Thank you. Another question, can user-defined notes be printed on membership/season pass cards?
Yes, so the user-defined notes, the ones that we added were 6 through 10, but 1 through 5 could always be added. So now we've just added some new user-defined notes, but they're two different types of notes. 1 through 5 are specific to the entire account, so the whole family. 6 through 10 is for the specific user within the account.
Okay, thank you, Tiff. There's another question. What disaster recovery solutions and redundancies does Gatemaster have in place for unexpected events? Or I'm going to add on to this, or that you may recommend a park have in place.
Yeah, so I am a huge fan of redundancy. And the reason is because when you do, let's say an offline mode, with offline mode, there's a lot of risk there. So one, you have to store the credit card locally, which means you have to have security measures set in place within your local network infrastructure because now you're storing credit cards locally. The other thing is there's a certain amount of declines that you'll get, which means if your ticket is $15 and you have a group of 4, that's $60, and that's basically a double date, that you would be losing, and let's say that happens twice, that's $120. There are some redundancy plans that you can get in place, even for smaller facilities, that are as low as $7. So I was looking into with a client, some redundancies that were built into their current Xfinity plan. But what was nice about that is that device also had a backup battery. So we weren't just solving the internet problem, we were also solving a power problem, because you should also consider not just the internet, but also the power. What do you do if these things go down? And even with your point of sale, there are battery backups that you can get in those places. So then you're never down. But I mean, if you have a laptop, let's say, that's the nice thing about Gatemaster is that it's cloud based. So even if you had a laptop, you could just throw that up and be up and running. And I actually personally have, and I'm sure a bunch of you have heard me talk about this because this device is so amazing, but I personally have my own redundancy with me at all times. It's a little cellular, it's just a small square that I got from T-Mobile. And so now if the internet goes down at my home or even at the office, I have this device that we can just turn on and it connects us and we're up and running. So I am a huge fan of redundancies. And I mean, disaster recovery goes beyond just your internet and your power. What do you do if you have an earthquake? Like there was an earthquake in California. What do you do in those situations? What do you do if there's a fire? What do you do if somebody gets hurt on premise? So it goes beyond that. But if we're just talking your technology, really the only two things, you want to make sure you have battery backups and you want to make sure you have some sort of cellular network, whether that's built into the router itself or whether that's built into, you have a separate device that you carry with you.
Thank you, Tiff. I think that this next question is somewhat of a follow-up to that first one. Can Gatemaster's POS system handle offline transactions, and how does the data sync once the connection is restored?
So Gatemaster recommends redundancies because of the risk. So when you do redundancies, you eliminate all of the risk, which is greater than the cost that is dealing with redundancies. So we highly recommend redundancy over offline mode. Can it be done? Yes, but there's no risk with redundancy. Whereas if you do offline mode, there is a risk there. So we eliminate that with redundancy.
Okay, perfect. We do have another question. Will the photo pass alert work for facilities that don't print passes in-house? For example, our passes are pre-printed and we just assign the numbers to the accounts.
Manny, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is just designed to be coupled with the ID card printing process, correct?
Definitely. This is just a step added to that workflow. So this only happens if you click that print card button in the user account that connects to CardPresso. So if you're using some other workflow, this won't affect that.
Okay, I don't see any more questions. If anyone needs clarification on anything, feel free to reach out to, I think probably Taj would be the best person to connect with if you have your standing meetings with her. If not, you can send her an email or definitely email Tiff or Manny for any questions. Okay, but Tiff, back to you.
Thank you so much. So how can you reach out to Gatemaster? How can you contact us? Find us on social media. We're on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube. We also do newsletters. We have blogs that we put out. This is just a way to help you stay updated with any announcements revolving around the new things that we're doing or the involvement of our technology. If you scan this QR code, it takes you to our link tree with all the different information that we talked about today, even being a guest on Live with Sandra, the different avenues of connecting with us. That concludes our release webinar for today, September 13th. I want to thank everyone for participating in this webinar. And if you have any questions, of course, please feel free to reach out to us. If you need some support, just drop that into the Gatemaster user portal, portal.gatemaster.com, or go to gatemaster.com, and down at the bottom, there's a login button. Thank you so much, and we'll talk to you all soon.